Hey everybody, it's Dave Juno, the Meniere's Disease Warrior. How y'all doing tonight? I'm doing pretty good. I had a great day. I felt good. I went fishing. I didn't catch anything. Got some nice pictures though. And I came home and I don't know what happened. I was feeling a little funny. So I took a nap. Now I feel better. So I didn't go into a vertigo attack or anything. I just fell off. So yeah, I took a nap. Now I feel good. So I was going to make this video earlier today, but it's such a nice day. I had to go enjoy it. You know, and that's one thing I'm going to tell newbies. If you're feeling good and you're having a good day, go enjoy it. Okay? Don't sit at home wondering what happened. What if? You don't want to live your life like that. That's like living in a trap. You don't want to do that. It's like living in a cage. So, what do I want to talk about today? Well, I think new people and veterans we can all learn something. And some of us probably might need a refresher. And there's a lot of new people, and a lot of new people are asking questions, which is great. You know, it's great that they're doing this. But you also got to, some of these answers can scare you. And that's the one thing you don't want to be scared. It's normal to be scared. In the beginning, we're all scared. And a lot of times we forget this. Like I was diagnosed Meniere's in 2017. I started in 2014. I didn't get diagnosed for 3 years. Just recently, about a month and a half ago, I got diagnosed bilateral. I had a labyrintectomy done in my left ear, which gave me relief for a few years. But I still had the tinnitus and the off balance and that type of thing. Because it doesn't go away. It just really takes away the vertigo. But my ear was already dead. And that's the only time they really do a labyrintectomy. Is if, excuse me, that ear is dead. You can't hear. So I had that done. But just recently, the vertigo had been coming back for almost a year now. And yeah, I'm bilateral now. So that's okay. You know, I know what to expect. I know everything. And excuse me, sorry. And what I noticed with my bilateral, because that's the other thing, is everybody's different. It's not as bad as the first time when I first got diagnosed in my left ear. The vertigo isn't as violent. It isn't as fast spinning. It's like this. So it's not as intense. Because somebody did ask me a question about that. If it was the same, and it's the tinnitus is there, that roaring, but the vertigo, it's not as intense. It's not. It's so yeah. And the hearing is, I'm at 40% hearing in the right ear now. So yeah, my body's doing. With a half an ear, I'm doing the work of 2 ears. So, but that's something I want to talk about per se, but that's one of the things. To answer a question that some people have been asking me, it's not as intense for me, but that doesn't mean it's, you know, we're all different. And that's one thing newbies don't understand. When we first get diagnosed with this, you think, oh, there's something for everybody and this is going to work for everybody. There isn't. I don't care what anybody says. There isn't. So, you know, don't take it like that. All right? And everybody's different. Triggers are different. This is different. That is different. You know, it's all different. New people, you really got to find your triggers in the beginning. You know, and joining support groups is great. But you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt, too, sometimes. Because there's good information out there, and then there's just people who are just so negative about everything that they'll make you feel like you're gonna, you know, basically drop dead tomorrow, and that's not what this disease is gonna do to you. It's not, you know, there's no cure, but it's the worst thing you can get that won't kill you. So that's one other thing, you guys, the new people have to not worry about is. Don't listen to horror stories. And people who have been dealing with this for a while, don't listen to horror stories. Just because it happens to somebody else doesn't mean it's going to happen to you. Okay? The other thing is the scammers. The scammers, for some reason, are back in full force. It's hard to weed them out now because they steal profiles. They know how to answer the questions. You really got to, moderators, admins, you really got to be diligent. Because if you're not, you're opening up your page to being one big, scam thing where members are going to get mad eventually because most of them know it's a scam. But new people don't, and desperate people don't. When you're desperate, you kind of become like irrational, right? Because you want to be cured. You don't want this anymore. I need help, I need help, I need help. Worst thing you can do. Because that's when you fall for these scams of the Dr. Dingleball herbal care doctor in Nigeria. So you got to kind of, keep your wits about you. All right? Don't be desperate. If you learn your triggers and learn what works for you, whether, it's meclizine, Valium, vitamin B, vitamin D, there's a whole bunch of different things you can try. The other thing, too, is if you are somebody who's just having vertigo and waiting to see an ENT, don't self-diagnose yourself. Don't do self-diagnosis. Because if you do that, one, you're going to throw yourself into so much anxiety, it's not even going to be funny. Seriously, you'll have yourself condemned to death. You'll be calling the funeral director instead of calling the doctor. Because I know a few people who have done this, who have gone on and self-diagnosed and basically threw themselves into all this anxiety and all this other stuff and come to find out it wasn't even Meniere's disease. Because this is what you do. They join these groups and, they look up, vertigo, and Meniere's disease is one of the things that's going to pop up. And then they think it's going to happen to them. Then they go to the doctors and they're like, well, we don't see anything in the x-ray. There's no acoustic tumor. We think you might have BPPV, which is the crystals are out of alignment. And they do an Epley maneuver, and they do it a few times so everything gets back into shape. And within a week or so, your vertigo's gone. And might not ever come back. So that's the thing, is you get yourself all worked up that you have this horrible disease and you don't even have it. So don't self-diagnose. And the other thing too is, like, if you do self-diagnose and you call Social Security in the States and you say, hey, I want to get an SSDI, I have Meniere's disease, they're not going to say, okay, here's a check. They're going to say, do you have a note from your doctor? Do you have medical files from your doctor? And if you say no, they're going to say, well, get out of here. So that's why you want paperwork. You want that trail. And the other thing, too, is a lot of people can say, oh, doctors are stupid. Well, no, they're not stupid. They're human. Now, are there doctors out there who try to bullshit their way through stuff? Sure. There's people who do that in every freaking job on earth. I worked for, I'm not going to mention the company's name, but I worked for a company, and there were guys that worked there, had no idea what they were doing with a copier, and they would try to bullshit their way through through a service call. And the customer would get mad and all this other stuff, and then I'd have to go out there, first calm the customer down, and when I was younger, it was hard because I was afraid to say anything. Because I was, 10 years in a job, I don't want to, put myself in a predicament. But towards the end, when I knew I had to stop working, if they started yelling at me, the first thing I would say was, this isn't going to work. If you're going to yell at me, I'm out the door. And they would say, oh, okay, and then calm down, this and that. And then it would be nice. It's like, oh, I'll clean that copy for you, clean that. Yeah, that's all said. It was something easy. But guys would bullshit their way through calls. I, on the other hand, wasn't one of those guys. If we were taking on a different manufacturer to work on their machines, and they sent me to one and I wasn't trained, first thing I would tell the customer, I'm not going to bullshit you. I don't know a lot about this copier, but I'm going to do the best I can to get you up and running. And 9 out of 10 times I was able to get them up and running just by making a couple of phone calls, whatever. But, and they thanked me for my honesty. Now, some doctors do the same thing. But there are other doctors that, like the doctor who diagnosed me with Meniere's disease, he was honest as the day is long. Said he didn't know a lot about it. When I called him back, at first he's like, You have Meniere's disease. Here's a bottle of Valium. Use them when you have an attack. Have a nice day. But I called him back. I kept calling him back. I'm like, hey, I can't live like this. And he's like, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know a lot about how to treat it. I usually do tumors in the head. I'm an ENT, but I can diagnose that stuff. I don't know a lot about it because I do more surgery than diagnosis. So why don't I send you to Dr. Gasek? And I went, okay. Honest doctor, apologized. Wasn't a bullshit artist. Okay? But there are a lot of doctors that, or they gaslight you because they don't want to deal with it. And they don't put you in a direction. I was lucky. He put me in a direction that helped me. So that was a good thing. Okay? And I know a lot of this is hard, too. Because you're dealing with new disease. You're dealing with this. You're dealing with that. Doctors, this. And then if you're working, you're trying to do that. I did that for 3 years and worked at the same time. I don't know how I did it. But, for new people, literally, don't listen to the horror stories. Bilateral, about 80% of people do not go bilateral. 15 to 20% do. Okay? So I'd say 80 to 85% don't go bilateral, never will go bilateral. 15 to 20% do go bilateral. I'm in 15 to 20, which kind of makes sense because I do have some other autoimmune issues that I deal with. Iritis is one of them, where my irises swell up and stuff. So, it wasn't a shock to be told I was bilateral, and that's what the vertigo was coming back. Wasn't a shocker for me, because I kind of knew. But if you get diagnosed with Meniere's, don't think you're going to go bilateral. Most likely, you're not going to. Most likely. I don't want someone saying, you said I would go bilateral, and I did. No. Okay? No. Most likely, you won't go bilateral. 2, just because something works for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Okay? And vice versa. My triggers are not going to be the same as your triggers. Like, my triggers are sodium, salt, sodium, salt, lights, like flashing lights. If I have more than 2 cups of coffee a day, that'll hit me. Because I usually have a cup in the morning and a cup in the afternoon. But if I have 2 in the morning and then go for the other one in the afternoon, and then I'll start spinning. So that's a couple of my triggers. But that doesn't mean it's going to be that way for you. I have a friend that salt doesn't bother her. Alcohol doesn't bother her. Those aren't her triggers. But I will say one trigger that everybody has is stress. And that's kind of something you want to try to limit. And it's hard. I've got videos out here, and it's still hard. It's still hard for me today. So on that note, hey guys, I wanted to make a video, but I know this is kind of mishmash and stuff, or reviews of things I've talked about before, but there's so many new people joining groups every single day, and that's why I'm here. Okay, I'm here to help. Another thing is I've been getting messages from people think that this is spam. My YouTube channel is spam. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I make nothing. I make nothing on this channel. I don't sell anything on this channel. I don't sell products. You make nothing off of YouTube. Nothing. This is all my dime. And the reason why I do it is because I want to help people. Because I wish there was somebody doing this when I first got diagnosed. I really do. So for those of you who think it's spam, I'm making money, this, that, and the other thing, I'm not. I wish I was, but I'm not. It's all on my dime. The camera, microphone, computers, monitor, all my dime. This office, my dime, even though I got to paint it. It's horrible. I got to get a green screen. The paintings in the back's horrible. But I'm getting there. Slow and sure I'm getting there. But everything's on me. You don't pay for anything. I don't even ask for donations. I don't even ask. I don't want it. If somebody offered me money, I'd say no. Because I want to help people. That's what I do. And this is the best way for me to do it. I don't work anymore. I'm retired, medically retired since I was 52. This is almost like a job for me. It's a job I don't get paid for, but it's a job nonetheless. So on that note, guys, hey, have a great week. I'll try to do something else during the week, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.